If you've ever played, or even heard about GTA San Andreas, you probably know about the big betrayal, where Big Smoke and Ryder abandon their Grove Street homies. It's one of the most famous moments from the entire game, and probably the most infamous betrayal in the entire GTA franchise. It has its fair share of controversies which I won't go into here, but did you know just how many members of the Grove actually betrayed it? In this video I will detail every major betrayal in the game, as well as some more minor ones.
Oh shit, here we go again. Welcome to San Andreas, I'm CJ from Grove Street.
Carl C.J. Johnson was born in Los Santos, to Beverly Johnson. His father isn't known. He has 3 siblings, Sweet Sean Johnson, Brian Johnson, and Kendall Johnson. You might be confused as to how CJ betrayed Grove Street. While he didn't throw any of his fellow gang members under the bus, he did abandon his gang and family for 5 years after being overwhelmed by the death of his younger brother, Brian, which he blames himself for. He went to live in Liberty City to start over. You can argue whether or not this is a true betrayal, but it definitely is an abandoning. Other gang members like Sweet consider it a betrayal in the introduction, saying that CJ is dead to him, but Sweet is known for being extremely dedicated to the Grove, so his opinion is definitely not that of most members. However, other members of Grove Street like Ryder continuously hassle CJ for his 5-year absence. Speaking of Ryder.
Yeah, CJ.
Welcome to San Andreas, I'm CJ from Grove Street.
Lance Wilson, better known as Ryder, was born in Los Santos, most likely in Ganton due to his friendship with Sweet and Carl Johnson. Ryder was expelled from high school for assaulting a teacher who was wearing Ballers colors, although Ryder claims he was too intelligent for school. It is also revealed that Ryder has been a drug dealer since the age of 10. At an unknown point in time, Ryder joined the Grove Street gang, eventually rising through the ranks of the gang until becoming one of Sweet's closest allies, being helped by the departure of Carl Johnson in 1987 following his brother's death. The Grove Street families, however, began to lose influence, power, and money to their arch-rivals, the Ballers, due to their stance against the sale of drugs, which was fueling the Ballers' rise to prominence. Big Smoke attempted to convince Sweet about the benefits of selling drugs but failed, later meeting Ryder in his house where he convinces him to join his newly formed alliance with the Ballers. The alliance is later expanded to include the Los Santos Vargos and Russian Mafia, while another was established with the Loco Syndicate, who began supplying the new alliance with drugs. From their base in San Fierro, Ryder's betrayal is by far the most controversial one in all of the GTA games. The most widely accepted theory is that he wasn't meant to betray his homies but was given that role last minute, and I do agree with this theory, mostly because in every cutscene involving the big betrayal CJ only mentions Big Smoke and not Ryder even once. A common misconception is that Rockstar Games had a falling out with MC8, Ryder's voice actor, which caused them to add his betrayal last minute, but according to MC himself this wasn't the case. It's likely Rockstar wasn't sure what to do with Ryder, which is why it seems so hastily done.
Like it says in the book, we are blessed and cursed.
Welcome to San Andreas, I'm CJ from Grove Street.
Melvin Harris, better known as Big Smoke, is the biggest backstabber in GTA San Andreas, both physically and metaphorically. His upbringing is very similar to Ryder's. He was born in Los Santos, probably in Ganton because of his relationship with Sweet and CJ, and he later joined the Grove Street gang. He rose through the ranks of the gang until he became Sweet's right-hand man. CJ's departure in 1987 helped Smoke and Sweet develop a closer relationship. Smoke later betrayed the Grove and sold them out to Crash. He was also close with and likely secretly a member of the Ballers, even though he was still wearing the green Grove Street colors until his death at the end of the game. He also made deals with the Los Santos Vargos and the Russian Mafia, eventually becoming the most powerful crook in the criminal underworld of Los Santos nearing the end of the main story of San Andreas. He makes multiple references to his desire to be remembered after his death. Sometime after CJ's departure, Smoke moved to Idlewood after buying a house with some money he claims his aunt left him in her will. The Grove Street families, however, began to lose influence and status among the city's gangs, noticing that the ballers, who controlled Idlewood, were selling drugs to fuel their rising influence. He then tries to persuade Sweet to allow the Grove Street families to sell more potent drugs, since the families already sell marijuana and PCP, although Sweet refuses because he believes crack cocaine has a destructive influence on the communities it is sold in. At the end of the day, Big Smoke was only looking out for himself and only cared about the money and fame, and he got what he deserved.
When I'm gone, everyone gonna remember my name. Big Smoke. Oh.
Damn, man.
Everyone likes to party sometimes, CJ. I'll see you around.
Welcome to San Andreas. I'm CJ from Grove Street.
Barry Thorne, more commonly known as Big Bear, is a member of the Grove Street families and is one of the longest-serving members of the gang. Bear was apparently close to CJ's younger brother, Brian Johnson, as Bear referred to him as Lil Brian during deleted dialogue between himself and CJ. Between 1987 and 1992, however, he developed a drug addiction. At the time of the GTA San Andreas storyline, Bear had become the personal slave to Bdub and does household chores for him. Bear had lost a lot of respect and had turned on the Grove Street families in order to get more drugs. However, he eventually physically confronts Bdub and decides to quit taking drugs. Sweet Johnson helps Bear by taking him to rehab at the end of the mission beat down on Bdub. In a deleted cutscene from the same mission, CJ would take Big Bear to rehab with Bear explaining how he got addicted to drugs. This would have set up a cut mission where Carl would search for Big Smoke and would need to find an informant. Bear tells Carl and Sweet about a Russian mafia gang member who would inform Carl of Smoke's whereabouts, which would set up the mission end of the line, so Big Bear was originally supposed to play a much bigger role in the story and presumably redeem himself in the eyes of the player and the other Grove Street members. There are 3 cutscene models for Big Bear, an unused, Fat 1CS Big Bear, the used Thin 1CS Big Bear Thin, and another unused model called CS Big Bear 2. The third model is overweight and seen wearing gray pants and a black cap under a dark green hood. This model is a recolored version of the Grove Street family's Fam 1 model. In deleted dialogue between Bear and CJ, CJ mentions how Bear's drug addiction changed his appearance, and Bear replies by saying "best diet I've ever been on," further implying that Bear was initially overweight before his addiction. This weight fluctuation appears to be a direct reference to his voice actor Kurt Alexander, aka Big Boy's battle with obesity and his duodenal switch surgery in 2003 and subsequent hospitalization, which nearly resulted in his death. Just a quick note before we continue: if you're enjoying the video so far and want to see more GTA San Andreas videos, you're free to subscribe to my channel, it would mean a lot to me. Also, liking the video makes me realize I didn't waste my life making this video and some people actually enjoy them, so that it also mean a lot to me. This video wouldn't have been possible without the GTA wiki on fandom and a few other sites I'll link in the description. Anyway, on to the next Traitor. Jeffrey Cross, better known as OG Loke, grew up on Grove Street in Ganton, Los Santos, where he became friends with several members of the Grove Street families, including Sweet Johnson and Big Smoke. Jeffrey lacked the physical capability to join the families, but was still fascinated by the gangster lifestyle. Sweet advised him to leave the ghetto and attend college, but Jeffrey was set on becoming a rapper. Sometime after the year 1987, he began going by the name OG Loke, and started committing petty crimes, mostly traffic violations. These criminal offenses landed him in jail for a few weeks. While in jail, he built up his street credibility. When CJ arrived back in Los Santos, OG Loke was still in prison. CJ accompanied Sweet and Smoke to the police station to pick him up, where CJ angered Loke by calling him Jeffrey. Loke was then ordered to work as a burger shop janitor by his parole officer, and in the process of attempting to become famous, ruined Mad Dog's career by having CJ steal his rhyme book and kill his manager. Despite the fact that Loc is a terrible rapper with a squeaky, scratchy voice, he slowly but surely makes a name for himself in the underground by using Mad Dog's stolen lyrics. After the downfall of the Grove Street families, Big Smoke chose to launder his drug money by granting Loc a record contract, making him rich and famous. Using Mad Dog's rhyme book, he recorded his first, and only, album Straight from the Streets, immediately paired with a clothing company, Lockdown, a reference to his prison stint, complete with a handcuff logo, available at Victim. He was interviewed by Laszlo on WCTR. Despite mocking him in the past, Big Smoke goes on with the charade that OG Loc is a real gangster, showing he doesn't care about anything other than his image, the fame, and money. After CJ helps Mad Dog recover from his addiction, OG Loc was chased down by Carl and Mad Dog from the set of his music video in Flint County all the way to Blastin' Fools Records in Los Santos. There he was extorted for Mad Dog's rhyme book and royalties from his album. Shortly after, his manager, Big Smoke, was killed, and Loc did not return to the rap game. While OG Loc was a backstabber, he seemingly didn't have any particular hatred towards the Grove Street gang. He was just very money hungry and abandoned his morals in exchange for a lucrative record deal offered to him by Big Smoke. In my opinion, Loc was more of a rat than a full-on traitor, who never really cared about anyone other than himself and his image.
Get the fuck out of here for you be laying on your back. Big Bear, come check this fool.
Mark Wayne, better known as Bdub, used to be a loyal member to the Grove Street families but began to move away from the gang and into dealing drugs. Dub begins to sell drugs in Los Santos, including to his homie Big Bear, who he forces into being his personal slave. Bdub has Bear clean his home in Ganton. Bdub is also later heard on West Coast Talk Radio, saying the problem in the hood is that there isn't enough drugs in the hood. CJ and Ryder attempt to recruit Bdub during the mission cleaning the hood to kill some ballers' drug dealers. Bdub declines their offer as the ballers are responsible for bringing the drugs into the city, which he does not want to fight against, and is more concerned with making profit by selling them. Much later in the game, during the mission beatdown on Bdub, CJ and Sweet visit Bdub in his new home in Glen Park, Kilo Trey Ballers territory. After Carl and Sweet retake Glen Park, they enter Bdub's house to face him. Big Bear cannot take any more abuse from Bdub, so he punches him, then leaves with CJ and Sweet. Bdub is never seen or mentioned again after that encounter, though it is likely that he is still alive. Bdub works for Big Smoke, as he refers to him as the boss during the mission beatdown on Bdub. It is likely that Big Smoke supplies him with drugs. Not much is known about his past apart from the fact he used to be a loyal Grove member, but turned his back on the families for money, much like the other traitors in this video. If you made it through the entire video, then leaving a like on it would help my channel out a lot, and if you want to see more content like this in the future, feel free to subscribe, and of course if you'd like to leave a comment, I reply to them all. And if you want a shout out at the end of my next video, you can send me a trade offer on Steam or just leave a funny comment on my profile. See you next time.